From the center of the universe, Toronto, Ontario, Canada, this is the SDM Show with your host, Rob Cairns. The SDM Show focuses on business, life, productivity, digital marketing, WordPress, and more. Sit back, relax, grab your favorite drink, and enjoy the show. Here is Rob.
Hey everybody, I'm Rob Cairns. I'm the founder, CEO, and chief creator of amazing ideas that's stunning digital marketing. In today's podcast, I have my good friend, Mr. Andrew Palmer, with me, and we're going to talk and critique and dive into Matt Mullenweg's keynote final speech at WordCamp US. Grab a drink, sit back, relax, enjoy the show. Hey everybody, stunning digital marketing is your digital concierge. We help you put the pieces together to make your marketing success. Specialties we have including WordPress design and development, WordPress security, which is one of our most popular offerings, ads, and more. So if you want to succeed in the digital world, go on over to stunningdigitalmarketing.com and have a look at what we offer, and we'd be glad to help you. And let's jump on a call and make it happening. That's stunningdigitalmarketing.com.
I know. It's great.
Hey everybody, Rob Cairns here. And today I'm here with my good friend and guest, Mr. Andrew Palmer, a guy who likes to say what he's thinking and how it is. How are you, Andrew?
I'm very good. I'm very good. I'm a bit tired, actually. It's been a bit of a weekend where it's been quite long because I did some stuff. I'm walking a lot more these days, but also,
Good.
Paying attention to the little things that went on over the weekend, commenting and, obviously getting involved in some quite, interesting conversations and stuff with various people around the community, which is weird to me because here I am sitting 24 miles west of London and building websites and building plugins and stuff like that. And I'm just thinking, well, I'm nobody special, really. We're all part of the WordPress community. And, people seem to value my opinion, which is awesome. It's a great feeling to be able to be understood as a person that really cares about WordPress and what goes on in the community. Yeah. It's cool.
I would say you do really care, and you've always cared. So, that's always appreciated. I think leadership starts with caring about what people think. And I would say you are a strong leader in the community, and thank you for that.
That's very kind of you to say. That's really, really appreciated. It's good. I've had some great calls over the weekend as well, and great little chats in DMs and private messages and stuff like that. And of course, I was lucky enough to have a little meeting with Matt himself, for an hour or so on Sunday. So, it's quite an eventful weekend.
Yeah, it was. And then some. For those who don't know what we're talking about, and if you're on X and or LinkedIn, you must have your head under a brick on the weekend. There was a keynote at WordCamp US on Friday that stirred up all kinds of stuff, and I think the keynote was, if I recall right, wasn't it like 10 minutes long, and then the Q&A was the rest of it pretty well?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah,
and basically, to summarize, Matt took aim at WP Engine, and then the community exploded. Is a polite way of putting it, right? Before we dive in.
I think it was more about contributions and who contributes and how you contribute and fight for the future, and people taking money or taking an opportunity to make money from something that is built by the community, financed by the community, financed by WordCamps and WordCamp Central and whatever you care to call it, WordPress community support, who dish out the money that comes into WordPress via the foundation. So it would have been better if WP Engine hadn't been mentioned, but it's a drum that I've been bashing for a good while. My WP London presentation was based on how do we get money into WordPress.org, and I've always been commercially minded on that aspect. And I think that the big companies that are making hundreds of millions of dollars, or certainly getting hundreds of millions of dollars in revenue, they're not really giving back enough. So, it was a surprising thing for me to watch it live. I couldn't go there personally for personal reasons. I got a bad back, and I saw it and I thought, oh, please don't go there. You know, don't name and shame. That's not what Fight for the Future is all about. It's voluntary, and
Yep.
you know, we don't need to go down that road. But he could have maybe done a better way, was saying, we need help. We need financial help, and we need the big boys and the big girls to pull up their big girl pants and empty out their wallets to at least, you know, 5% of the revenue. And I think that would have been, I think, a better way to do it. But, you know, we can all 2020 vision, and I'm not the owner of Automatic, and I'm not the owner of WordPress.org. And, you know, who am I? I'm just a WordPress user who loves WordPress and loves the community and thinks that we should be financed a little bit more from the big boys voluntarily, not necessarily forced or named and shamed.
Yeah, and we've seen this before, if I recall right. Didn't he take aim at GoDaddy like 2 years ago? And
I think so, and I think the Silver Lake guy. I mean, I can be corrected on this, but I think the Silver Lake guy was involved in GoDaddy at the time, and I think maybe he's exited that. And you know, look what happened with GoDaddy. It's a very positive. GoDaddy are now a proper Fight for the Future contributor. They give $150,000 a year through WPCS, which is WordPress Community Support, along with, let's say, WP Beginner, 150 grand, Bluehost, 150 grand, and Automatic, 150 grand. That's 600,000 a year coming in anyway. But actually only 4 million comes in through the foundation, then goes into WPCS and gets distributed. And that finances, you know, or allows people to have their own little WordPress meetups. They have their WordCamps, and that finances all of that. And if you think 2023, 500,000 people attended meetups, yeah, that's a lot of people that have got out in global terms and everything. So, but I don't, you know, 4 million isn't enough. You know, if even if the cash was there, 5%, say 5 companies gave their 5%, you'd be getting between 2.5 and 5 million per 5%, right? So 10 companies do that are making over 100 million. You know, that's 5 million, 10 million coming in. You know,
I agree.
It's a lot of cash, so it's got to be distributed. And I've always felt that contributors should be paid. Always, you know,
Me too.
Depending on the level of contribution. You know, I said in my presentation for WP London, you know, if you, even if you're a polyglot that has fixed a word that's incorrect in German, and you fix that and you've contributed, do you know what? Get a Starbucks voucher or a Costa Coffee voucher or whatever, and say thanks, you know, because WordPress could afford it, or WordPress, the project, could afford it. But you know, I'm supportive of Matt in that aspect of Fight for the Future. I don't think Fight for the Future is working because it's voluntary. Can you make it mandatory? Not really, but we've got to be able to persuade people properly, including actually people like me, people like you.
Yep.
You know, I'm seeing a lot now that people that, you know, I've just gone into post status, and because I don't really log into there very often because it's just such a thing. But you know, somebody just in the post status, you know, referred to my and Dave Graves' little initiative, which is fundwp.com, which I was on the fence over the weekend of whether we should actually do this anymore, because I don't want to be, you know, part of something that people don't agree with. But one guy here says, I didn't, I read that blog and I didn't even know about the foundation. So there's a marketing thing,
an education thing
missing, an educational thing missing there. But if you also look on Fight for the Future as a contributor or as a company that wants to contribute, it's massive. It's a days-long read of how
it is.
You contribute. So we've got to make it easier for people to do that. And I think Fight for the Future needs a fundamental rethink. And a real kind of call to action to people like me and you. You know, for instance, I started an initiative only 2 months ago, where I build a website and I get an amount of money for it. Doesn't matter. I can get 30 grand for it. I can get 5 grand for it. I can get 500 quid for it. Every time I build a website for a client on a commercial basis, I give $20 to the foundation.
Okay.
It's not, you know, it's nothing really, but you know, if we all did that, imagine 2,000, say 10,000 websites a day get installed. 2,000 of those websites get installed and designed by freelancers, agencies, and whomsoever. Imagine 2,000 a day times $20. If that happened, if we just the proletariat, the minutiae of the community just gave $20 for every website we did times 2,000, that's $14 million a year if it happened every year. Of course, they're improbable numbers, but that's how we can give back. Micropayments can become phenomenal to the stuff. But when was the last time, or did you ever hear of the foundation?
Yes, I have actually. Actually, it's funny. Just before we went to air, I was reading the foundation trademark page just for point of discussion, which is coming. So yes, I have heard of the foundation. The foundation is made up of a board of 3 people. Nat is one of those people on the board. Which is my biggest issue is governance. And I don't think there's enough transparency. Having somebody, the head of Automatic and on the board of the foundation, I think that's a bit of a conflict, in my opinion.
It is, and I had some clarity on that because I wrote a blog post about it, and it's had a lot of views, which is good. Matt connected with me through Twitter and just said, if you got a few things wrong here, happy to have a meeting to correct it. Nothing in the blog post apart from clarity around what the foundation, how it's formed and what it is, and WordPress community support, which is the profit-based company that dishes out all the money. And the reason it dishes out all the money is for legal purposes, because, and we've got to get rid of the word sponsorship, because it's advertising. Everybody knows it's advertising, and sponsorship kind of says I'm donating, and you shouldn't donate if you're buying a podium at or a place at an event. Then you're paying for advertising and stuff like that. So I think some language has got to be changed around that. And people have got to realize that the foundation is actually, and I didn't know this, and I was informed by Matt, which is great, that he can actually be outvoted. It's quite public knowledge. I said the whole meeting can't be done because there was some personal stuff that I shared as well. But the basis of it is the foundation is 3 people, and they each have a third vote. So Matt can be outvoted. It's going to be unlikely, but he can be outvoted if the foundation members feel that either WordPress have overstepped the mark with the trademark and or the use of the trademark or abuse of the trademark, or Matt has and or WordPress.org has. Now, although that may seem unlikely, it can happen. We had OpenAI, don't forget, that were an open source
non-profit
and non-profit and blah blah blah, and all of a sudden it turned around. So I think the reasoning behind the foundation is to protect the open source bit, to make sure that either Matt or Automatic can't suddenly say, right, we're no longer open source, we're closed source or whatever, we're just not open source. So that's, and also to protect the trademark and give licenses. So Automatic has a license for the trademark, and I think Automatic gives sub licenses to companies that sign up to the whatever criteria it is for being able to use the mark. And I think that's a good level of control, because I think when Matt had Automatic, he may have been worried about, what happens if I sell and what happens to the trademark of WordPress and all that kind of stuff, because we've got a community behind it. So, and they need protecting from really anybody, greedy venture capitalists, let's say, trying to make money out of the mark itself. But so it's a difficult one to navigate for everybody, because that's why I appreciate him contacting me to make corrections on what the WordPress community support was about and what the foundation was about. It's because I'm reasonably intelligent. I'm not degree level educated, but I'm really, really reasonably educated, really intelligent, I think. And I couldn't figure it out. So how the heck does anybody else figure it out? It's crazy.
It's true. So we've kind of talked a bit about the foundation. Let's jump into the trademark, because I was looking at the foundation trademark page before we went there.
Sure.
One of the complaints I kind of took out was that WP Engine starts with the name WP.
No problem at all.
I heard that loud and clear. And if you read the trademark page, it clearly states WP is not a trademark and you can use it in any way, shape, or form.
Absolutely.
It says that right on the foundation page. So that was problem number one. And then part of it was this whole issue around branding. And there was some of that conversation going on. I don't think the branding's as big a deal. Like having been in this space a long time, I've never inferred that. Like maybe I'm missing something, but I didn't see.
I think what you're missing is that you've been in this space. You're in this space. So what when WP Engine and other hosts, it's not just WP Engine. There's loads of hosts that go WordPress hosting, WooCommerce hosting, all this kind of stuff. They're trademark words. So the language that people have been basically by precedence allowed to get away with, and don't forget that when you're telling people about trademark and you go to the lawyers, it's the foundation that's going to have to pay for these court cases and anything that may happen if for takedown requests. So I'm concerned that if there is an argument over trademark, the foundation it's going to come out of the foundation's purse. So I'm worried about that, and I think one of the approaches which would be better, and which I think is possibly going to happen, would be WP Engine and others go hosting for WordPress, hosting for WooCommerce. I think that's the right wording. I think that's where Matt's coming from on that. But I've said to him, and I'm quite open about saying this to him, because it's not private. I'm Divi. I come from the Divi world.
I know you do,
right? So, and I love Divi, even though there's been some controversy around me and Divi and all that kind of crap. I don't really care. But there's, Nick has a great way of saying about if you use Divi in your URL or if you use Divi logos. He doesn't care as long as you put a disclaimer on the footer that you are not endorsed by or part of Elegant Themes. Right. Okay. So that's a good way around it. And I think Nick's way of doing it is, rather than brand protection, it's kind of brand projection. So it's getting the brand name is always out there, and it's on multiple websites, it's on multiple URLs. So he's not really worried about protecting his brand. He's more interested in projecting his brand. Now he hasn't said anything to me about that. That's more where I come from. I wouldn't be particularly worried that people are using WordPress, the word, to promote their businesses, unless they are genuinely trying to pass off. We have PepsiCo taking people to court all the time because you're passing off, you've called it Popsy Cola or whatever it may be, and given a very similar, yin and yang logo and all that kind of crap. But I think that if we worry more about projecting the brand, or promote the fact that we're projecting the brand rather than protecting it, I think it'll become self-protecting, and a bit of education needs to be done with product owners and hosts and stuff like that, because all the hosts, if this goes to be silly levels, all the hosts are going to have to take the WordPress word from the beginning of whatever they do to the end of whatever they do. So hosting for WordPress, etc. And I don't think that's a bad thing. And also, Matt was pointing out, similar design styles, similar language, freedom to do this, freedom to do that. Is it passing off? I don't know. He didn't suggest that to me at all, but I just think that part of the problem is that hosts are, it's massively competitive. How do I get that edge? How do I make, ironically, edge? How do I make my hosting business stand out from the rest? Because I want a share of these 470 million websites that are out there. And I think part of the message is you're abusing the brand, as well as not contributing as much as I feel you should. You are also abusing the brand, but also going against. If you hold Five for the Future up for what it is and what it says, it literally says it's not mandatory or obligatory.
Yep.
And by calling out WP Engine, he's kind of made it obligatory, which is a shame.
Yep. And the other issue I have is, we'll go back to Fight for the Future, is a lot of people contribute, but not in a typical contributory way, if you get what I mean. There's
I
people
do.
on there's people on different teams. There's people who run major meetup groups, and that's important to the project. There's
WordCamps.
there's people like me who co-manage a LinkedIn group that's one of the biggest groups out there, and
Massive. Yeah.
that time is not considered toward Fight for the Future's time, even
Which I
though.
which I think is wrong, and you'll be pleased to know that I suggested that to him. I
Well,
did
thank
say,
you.
I said, everybody who uses WordPress is a contributor. Where do you draw the line to announcing people are contributors? And I think that line starts at WordPress meetups.
Yeah.
The groups, LinkedIn, Twitter groups, Facebook groups, they're massive. They're absolutely massive, but they're generally, the admin bar, the focus WP group, there's loads of WordPress hosting group, all this kind of thing. They are all contributing to getting the WordPress word out there. The very vocal podcasters that are both for and against WordPress, and WordPress is doing this wrong and WordPress is doing that wrong. I would ask people to put themselves in Josepha Hayden Chomposi's chair, and also Matt's chair, and the automaticians that are, contributing to Core, and the people that are contributing to Core. Put yourselves in those shoes for a moment and say, okay, I am supporting this massive software iteration, and I'm making sure it's secure, and I'm making sure that everybody can use it, and I'm making sure that it's backward compatible to version 2.1 or whatever it may be. And I'm not being appreciated enough because these big companies are making gazillions of dollars a year, and they're not giving back. And I just don't feel appreciated because of that. Having said that, why should they? Really?
Yep.
You gave me a bit of software. You told me it's free to use. I'm going to use it. You've also told me within the philosophy that I can do anything I like with it. I can redistribute it, and I can sell it. So, on your bike, mate. If you want some money, then, make it closed source. But at the end of the day, it's up to me as the person that is using WordPress, whether it's for hosting, whether it's for distributing to my clients, building websites, and making a profit on it. It's up to my own conscience what I give back. I'm not obliged to do anything. And that's the key. And as soon as you make people obliged to do something, they will rail against it. And they go, well, why are you nagging me like that? I mean, you've told me I can use this for free. What's your problem? What are you calling me out for? And I tell you what, there is going to be other people in this community that make loads of money out of WordPress. And they're going to go, oh, goodness, am I going to be next?
Mm-hmm.
Am I going to, they're going, oh, do I give back? And can you imagine getting a call off Matt or Josepha as a big, say Brainstorm Force, give them a ring, or Syed of Awesome Motive, saying, thanks, mate. You give us 150 grand a year. You personally give us $1 grand a year through foundation. Actually, it's not enough. And what else can I do? I'm giving as much as I can. I'm supporting an ecosphere. I'm buying plugins, and I'm making them either better or worse, or whatever your view is of whoever buys plugins. WP Engine have ACF. Yeah. I don't know one developer of WordPress that doesn't use ACF, and their life would literally be ruined if ACF just closed. Yep. And millions of websites would be broken. So we have to be clear about this. If you want people to give back to WordPress, ask nicely. It's that simple.
I think so. And I think, calling it out at the keynote at the end of WordCamp US was the wrong place at the wrong time. Here we had an upbeat conference where people learned, where people enjoyed, where people got somewhere. And then at the end of it, we had this massive keynote that has caused 3 days. I think we're going on day 4 right now, because I looked at the text this morning, and it's kind of blowing up again. Like, they're laughing, and the problem is, I said in the tweet, and I think my tweet was fair, good leaders unite people. That's what they do. And my issue is every time something like this happens, it doesn't unite the community. It fractions it. And that's a problem.
I agree with you. And I think that, listen, there's no doubt that Matt is not a bad leader because he's come through 21 years of WordPress and he's made some major faux pas. Let's be kind to him and say, GoDaddy, even he got the same kind of level of what, and other people, and taking out personal vendettas against people seemingly, it's not a good look for anybody, especially a very intelligent person that can who's very literate and he's a great orator. He kind of knows where he's going. What I saw on stage from Matt was a very angry person going, I need to say this. Whenever you feel wronged, you do want to say your piece, and you say that this is so wrong. But actually, it may be wrong, but you wrote the book, man. You wrote the rules, and the rules say I don't need to give back. It's that simple. And there's nowhere in the rules that said if I don't give back, I'm going to be outed at a massive conference, and I'm going to pop the balloon of joy and it'll become the brick of doom, because there are lots of people, my phone went red hot, WhatsApp ringing me from the States at 2:00 in the morning. I was going, they were saying, what do you think? And I said, well, you know what I think? I've written in a blog post, go and read that. And the point is that when you have that euphoria of getting together, meeting your friends, having all the side parties, WP Engine, by the way, have some of the best side parties ever. They're very generous. They're very kind. They do phone you half a dozen times afterwards to try and get you to be on with them. And I was with WP Engine for years by the simple fact that I was with Flywheel. They bought Flywheel, then it all transferred to WP Engine. Yeah. And I moved away because of the restrictions. I made my choice. But to ask someone to make a choice with their wallet and go to another host as a leader of or CEO of a company that owns a host, we're talking, there's some legal issues there of maybe even defamation. Not, there's no clarity there of what he wanted to aim from there or anything like that. So that very dodgy ground. Scary.
And TechCrunch has gone with this and posted this in its entirety as of this morning, just add fuel to the fire.
Yeah, and Search Engine Land as well, and other blog posts. I mean, John Jernigan's blog post. I thought I wrote a pretty good blog post, but man, that man knocked it out of the water. I mean, he really did. Yep. It's great. It's a great blog post because it wasn't. Mine was pretty emotional, but and also with and written very, very quickly, kind of knee jerky. But it was. People have said that the blog post reads very well, which is good. But the John's post is awesome. And one guy commented on my post, and I won't mention him, but he commented on my post that I needed to sort out the line spacing, and I thought, well, okay, is that all you got from my post?
I read your post just on a mobile phone, and the line spacing was good. So there you go.
No, I did. I take it. I'd like anybody in any one of the things that we are so lucky with in the Western world, right, is we have freedoms. And one of those freedoms is to be able to be corrected, to have your opinion changed by being educated, and also the freedom to change your mind. And also the freedom to take on criticism in such a way that you view that criticism, whether it seems negative at the time, but to view that criticism as constructive. And if someone who's good at CSS and good at web design and all that kind of stuff says that your spacing is out of kilter, you go and fix it. It's right. What I was disappointed with the comment was you need to correct your spacing on your blog post.
Yep.
But it was a pretty good blog post, or I thought the blog post was crap. There was, is that all you got from it? My spacing was out. I was a bit disappointed by that response. But having said that, I corrected the spacing, and it looks much better on a mobile phone. Of course, it does. But
Yep.
but as I say, we have massive freedom in the Western world. We're so lucky and blessed with it, where we can basically almost say what we like. It's a bit different in Britain at the moment, but we can kind of say what we like. And with Matt, I think he has an opportunity to right this wrong. And I'm coming out straight with it. I told him to his face, I thought you were wrong. I know you're wrong. In fact, I don't think you're wrong. I know you're wrong. And there's if you burn bridges, there seems to be no way back, but you can always rebuild those bridges. So one would hope that in the future he will get hold of the community feel. He did a poll.
Mm-hmm.
Should WP Engine be allowed
to sponsor a booth at work camp again?
Yep. And the poll says yes. But
it was like 65%.
Yeah. But the point is that on a whim, and I said this in my blog post, on a whim, Matt decided that WPCS, because that's who receives all the money, is now $75,000 short.
Yeah.
It's got to come from. So I don't know where it's going to come from. It's got to come from somewhere. If WP Engine go, yeah, give me my money back, But it's also over the next 4 word camps where WP Engine will be a gold sponsor or whatever they are, or whether they had plans to be gold sponsor, I don't know. It's actually said goodbye to $300,000, which is a shame, because he feels that they're, in his words, pillaging the software and doing stuff like that. So you have to find a balance between taking money off people that you don't necessarily agree with, or supporting the community. And actually, it's not a hard decision for me. If I don't particularly agree with what somebody's doing, and I'm doing an event that supports the community, you don't take the money in the first place, right? You just say, actually, guys, no. But you don't do it after the event. I mean, I feel for the staff. I know a few people, not very well, but I do know them by sight, that work at WP Engine. And it's hard working for a corporate. It's really, really tough. And I know that Matt says that he spoke with some people that were there and saying WP Engine aren't going to let us contribute. But I think any corporate would say, I've always had a problem if you've got a full-time job and you're being paid full-time and you have a side hustle, which is prevalent in our business. How do we gauge, as the owner of the business, the guy that's employed, the person that's employing you, paying your health insurance, paying your perks, doing whatever you're doing, making sure that the business is profitable so that I can have you here every single day, making sure that you're doing some work without the kind of the whip going on.
Yep.
And then you're doing a side hustle, and I see you answering a tweet or a Facebook post or an email support thing during working hours. I know, because I'm old, that back in the day, you're not allowed to have a side hustle. We have senators and MPs of Parliament. They've got side hustles. In the UK, we're trying to ban those side hustles. Say it's illegal for an MP to have another job. We know that when you have a limited company in this country, in the UK, in the articles of association, in every single limited company is the director is not allowed to do something similar or something that will interrupt their working day. In the articles of association, basically, I'm paraphrasing. So my point is that we've got to get this. I can see why WP Engine don't want people spending time on core, because by them running a WordPress hosting business, which every WordPress hosting business does, they alter WordPress. They add their own things. They either take things away or they put them in. So there's enough maintenance going on with WordPress anyway. Do you know what I mean? So
where am I going to
spare the time?
And what I would argue is, depending on how you draw the line around Five for the Future, WP Engine in some spots does give back beyond the plugins. They run groups around Gutenberg and blocks. I mean, I've been involved in those groups. They run other discussions. People would argue and say those are self-fulfilling, but I would argue and say, but to giving back to the community, and that's more important. So there is stuff going on. It just, every time we have a blow up like this, it seems to get lost in the shuffle.
I totally agree. And as I say, who have they just bought? Nitro Pack. So everybody that they bought or everybody that they now own has been affected by this as well because it's WP Engine. So Nitro Pack won't be allowed back in WordCamps either, which is a shame. And it's not just WordCamps, it's WordPress meetups as well. If I'm a WordPress meetup organizer, which I'm unpaid and pretty much underappreciated. I've been to 3 WordPress meetups in the last 3 months, presented at 2. And the meetup people are knackered. They're absolutely shattered because they're doing their day job and they're organizing a meetup, maybe only for 60 or 100 people, and not feeling appreciated by it because WordCamp Central, whoever's running that, has given them a set of rules to go by and saying, no, you can't do that, you can't do that, you can't do that. Now you can't do another thing. You can't accept sponsorship from WP Engine or Nitro Pack or ACF or anything to do with WP Engine, potentially. So it divides the community because WP Engine hosts 1.5 million websites, which is a minute when you compare it to what the hosting businesses do together. 470 million websites out there that are built on WordPress. 1.5 million is a tiny, tiny piece, but it brings them in 400 million a year in revenue. So, you can see where the money is. It's in hosting if you can do it to scale. And you've got, lovely companies like Rocket.net that have just started contributing to WordPress because they were in startup mode, right? Now they've started to make some money. Now they sponsor everything. But if you look on they sponsor, a few hours a week on core. But if you look at all of the core contributors of people who give, like hosting companies and other companies that give hours, Automatic obviously gives so much more. They give 3,500 or whatever. Most 95% of the rest of them give between 5 and 40 hours a month. Of course, they're not the same size as WP Engine, but you cannot force people to give you their time. You cannot do it. And that's what Five for the Future doesn't do. It doesn't force you. But it seems now with Matt's rant that you're obligated.
Yep.
That's not good.
So the other problem is this little rant that happened on Friday. Does that now scare off other companies from saying, maybe we won't spend $75,000 US and sponsor because we might get called out too?
Definitely. The repercussions, the domino effect from this is incalculable in community domino effect, people leaving. I know one guy who's left the accessibility doesn't appreciate it and doesn't get heard, and he's blind. So he's a perfect candidate, and he's a great coder, and a lovely man. So there are people leaving, and I'm pretty sure people left over the weekend. Thought, well, you know what? If you're gonna do this, I'm not really interested. And also, I think that collaboration or contributions, if you're a contributor, kudos, well done, brilliant, I love it. But don't tell me that I don't contribute to WordPress as well. Don't tell me. It's not any of your business. You should not look down from me on your from your podium or your pedestal. You shouldn't put yourself up just because you contribute to WordPress. Doesn't make you any better than anyone else that uses WordPress. It's great that you do it, but don't look down on me because I don't contribute. So that attitude will prevail itself more through Matt's rant on Friday, because for leadership, you have to lead from a perspective of being a good leader, right? And you lead by example. And if Matt feels that it's okay to slag off, for want of a better word, a company that isn't contributing, then that will go naturally to the contributors, and they will say to individuals, you got no argument, you can't criticize WordPress because you don't contribute. And do you know why I say that? is because that's exactly what's been said to me. When I criticize something that's going into contribution, one guy tweeted me and said, yeah, so what are you giving back? What are you contributing? Yeah, so what are you contributing? That's one of the rudest things that's ever been said. I'm allowed to criticize WordPress because I own WordPress. Matt told me on Friday that WordPress is as much mine as it is his. And I'm allowed, therefore, to say, I love this, I don't love this. And I shouldn't be lambasted for it. I should be saying, okay, well, let's look into it and why you feel that way. And I should be educated into why maybe this has happened, or why a certain thing's happening in core, even though I don't necessarily agree with it, and be persuaded that it is the right direction to go. So we have to be careful that Matt's keynote on and Q&A on Friday doesn't filter down to people saying, yeah, if you don't contribute, you're a piece of crap, you know?
So I have a bigger question. So we talk about contributions, and we've got all these major companies running WordPress websites, open source, and places like whitehouse.gov.
Yeah.
Like Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
And all kinds. Should they be putting money back into the WordPress Foundation?
Oh no, I don't think they should be obliged to do that because they're paying loads of hosting. They're paying loads. I mean, you know, can they make a donation to WordPress Foundation? Yes, please do. If you feel that you want to, please do. But really, if we want to support, so there was an agency that built the WordPress.gov site, right?
Yep, of course.
Millions of dollars, no doubt, that agency made or got in revenue from that. Millions, because we know governments pay far too much for their websites, right? So whoever did that website, they should be the ones giving to WordPress because they wouldn't be able to build that website without WordPress, right?
Of course.
So that's where I'm going. So we know that Human Made give back. We know that 10up give back. We know that the big agencies give back. But do they give back as much as they get? So this has opened a whole plethora of questions.
Yes.
Does Awesome Motive give back as much as they get? No, not even 1%.
No, that's the problem.
That's so, you know, if you're going to have a go at WP Engine, have a go at everybody, because there's only one company that I know of that gives pretty much 5% back into WordPress through Five for the Future, and that it's automatic. Yes, it could be for self preservation reasons, and yes, Automatic have got a good nice revenue, and I think Matt said it was in a tweet. He said it was about 450 million because it's a similar amount that
WP Engine gets.
WP Engine get. So they do give the 5% back. So that's a lot of money. That's a lot of commitment, right? Yep. And it's hard for a company to say, oh my God, I've now got to start paying for WordPress. But you know what? Even if the hosting companies gave 1 cent per WordPress install, let's not forget that Bluehost and others, and there's a company out there that I'm an affiliate to because I'm basically stopping hosting my own websites because I'm trying to sort of cut down on what I'm paying for. But they give me 5 times the monthly payment for an affiliate commission for giving them a customer.
Interesting.
Right, Bluehost, I think it's $60 per customer on a $3.50 package. Shopify give you 50% of the rental of. I'm pretty sure I'm a Shopify partner. I've just got a notification that well done for launching. So 50% of whatever the monthly rental is for a year. It used to be forever, but they changed it to a year because obviously they needed the money. So if you've got given something to Shopify, it's $2,500. You're going to get 1,750 quid back, or whatever it may be. Yeah, 1,750 quid back. So there's an awful lot of money going out there in affiliates. So I know that Awesome Motive have an affiliate scheme. Why not put an affiliate link in the plugin directory as a courtesy, and then every time that affiliate link gets clicked and people have upgraded, give that affiliate payment to the WordPress Foundation. There's many ways to skin a cat. If .org need money, they can use the biggest free marketplace out there for WordPress plugins. And what we're not talking about, and what Matt doesn't talk about, is the fact that WordPress repository is free.
Yes.
It's free. It's a free marketing platform for anyone that wants to do a plugin, freemium or free. It's up to them. If you want to give it away for free, like Contact Form 7, millions of downloads, 10 million plus downloads, it's free forever.
Yes.
Other people have made money on the back of Contact Form 7 by making add-ons to them, which are premium. Yeah. And they use the repository as the marketplace. So if they put in there voluntarily a UTM code or an affiliate code, and then give them an affiliate payment, which doesn't need to equal the 50% or the 30% or the 10%, it can be 5%. They're giving 5 for the future. So they've solved the problem straight away. I'm giving you 5% of my revenue every time every time somebody upgrades from your UTM link in the repository. I have solved the 5 for the future issue, and I'll donate that every quarter. Millions of dollars will come in.
That would solve a lot of problems.
Millions. It would be self-financing in a heartbeat, literally within 2 years. And then the hosts, as I say, even $1, even if they gave $1, every time somebody signed up, they left it 3 months, and then they say, okay, WordPress, here's $1 from every WordPress install that went in, because I've got to wait 3 months because the churn rate is quite high, especially with the crappy hosts, right? We know that people go, oh, I'm moving on to a new host. That would be millions of dollars. Imagine if we'd done that from the very beginning, right? 470 WordPress Foundation's income would be 470 million a year if they gave $1 a year per website. It's phenomenal money, isn't it? And we wouldn't have these problems of nagging people to give us money, giving out the begging bowl. How many times do you see a contributor asking to be supported?
All the time.
Donate. How many times do you see, WordCamps going, or meetups going, give me some money. I need money, donate, sponsor. No, advertise. Don't sponsor me. I'm asking you to pay for access to my customers. Simple as that, or to people that may want to use your services. We got to kind of commercialize WordPress.org without commercializing it, because it shouldn't be for any one person's profit. The actual funds when they arrive in a bank. So it shouldn't be for any one person's profit, and it shouldn't be for one person's or one corporation's profit. It should be for the community. And if we turn WordPress.org into a marketplace, I think we will solve 95% of the funding issues for WordPress.org. And I think we could pay contributors substantially. And I think that's the way forward. That's my mantra of being the way forward.
And I think that's a really good long-term solution, to be honest with you, is to do that. Andrew, just kind of to wrap up, if somebody wants to read that blog post you wrote, it was really well written, where can they find it?
Fundwp.com. So fundwp.com, and then just go to the blogs, and it's the first one. You'll find it.
Yeah, it's the one with
a very quick website that Dave Gray and I set up, ages ago, and we haven't had time. It's not brilliantly designed, but we'll get there. But it's the concept of whatever you feel about WordPress, it needs funding, and however you feel about it is funded. At the moment, there is only one way to put money into WordPress, and that is through the foundation. So there's a direct link there to the foundation. And if we had a load of hits, and people would die for this kind of conversion rate of actually a thing being clicked on. We're at around about 4.5% conversion rate. So people go to the website, and 4.5% of the visitors actually click the donate to the foundation. I don't know how many have converted into actually donating, but at least it's getting the visibility of the fact that you can donate to the foundation. You can donate annually, and you can donate as a one-off. And I recommend that people, if they feel as strongly as I do about the funding and the foundation of WordPress and the fact that we're earning money out of it every single day, I would encourage people to go and donate to the foundation. Whatever you feel about who's running it, or who's got the vote, or whatever. But it's up to you. There's no obligation. But if we don't act properly in the funding of WordPress, we'll see a Joomla situation where we'll run out of money and we'll become a minor part of the web. And that's not in my mind. I don't want that to happen.
Nor do I. Andrew, thanks for the great conversation. I assume if somebody wants to get a hold of you, the best ways to tweet at you on X. We still use
Oh,
that?
I'm hiding away for the next week. I've had enough. I'm not even going to tell you.
Yes.
I mean it. I don't want anybody to know. I'm joking. At Arnie Palmer on Twitter. And Fund WP, you can get through to us. There is a contact form on there. And also, obviously, Bertha.ai, my little AI baby out there. If you want to support me and make sure that I'm a voice, continue to be a voice in WordPress, subscribe to a paid plan on Bertha.ai, please, because, I love doing what I do. I love being part of the community, but also I need to get paid as well. So, it's up to you. You can use it for free or you can pay for it. It's up to you.
I agree with you. Thanks, Andrew. Have an amazing day, my friend. Be well.
Cheers, man.
Thank you very much for listening to the SDM Show. The SDM Show is brought to you by Stunning Digital Marketing, your digital concierge. For all your digital marketing needs, especially WordPress security, jump on over to stunningdigitalmarketing.com and let's help you put the pieces together and make your business succeed in the marketing realm. That's stunningdigitalmarketing.com. Very special thank you to Andrew Palmer for joining me on this edition of the SDM Show. This podcast is dedicated to my late father, Bruce Cairns. Dad, I love you. I miss you very much. And thanks for all the inspiration over the years and your caring, your understanding, and helping me grow as an individual. Thank you, Dad.